It's about time Stop and Search was rolled out properly across this country. This is why woke is so dangerous, because wokery has meant that police and Sadiq Khan have been terrified of doing Stop and Search properly because they're scared of being called racist. But this is the consequence of not having strict deterrence and strict Stop and Search policies in this country. There has been a mass stabbing on a train in Cambridge last night. It is absolutely sickening to see this just a few days after we had that terrifying triple stabbing happen in Uxbridge, Hillingdon. Let's take a look at the police's latest update this morning.
10 people were taken to hospital by ambulance and another person self-presented later that evening. While 9 were initially believed to have life-threatening injuries, following assessment and treatment, 4, thankful to say, have been discharged. However, 2 patients remain in a life-threatening condition. British Transport Police declared a major incident yesterday, and counter-terrorism policing were initially supporting our investigation. However, at this stage, there is nothing to suggest that this is a terrorist incident. This is a British Transport Police investigation, and we continue to work to establish at pace the full circumstances and the motivations that have led to this incident.
Let's take a look at the scenes at the station last night. Look how many sirens, look how many flashing lights. This was a huge operation. At the moment, you're going to see the moment that the police run in and storm onto that train. There's some passengers there who have been escorted off, and then of course people will be being treated in those ambulances there after they were stabbed on that train. There you go, the police running down the platform. And this is the moment, apparently, that one of the suspects was arrested. You can see they've got the dogs, they've got lots of police in there. Lots of shouting, maybe resisting arrest. I want to show you this someone who was on that train, their account, a witness's account, because this is just horrifying to hear. I feel so sorry for everybody who was on that train put in that situation. This is Ollie Foster.
I was in Coach H. I was literally just listening to Audible on my phone, and then I had guys suddenly run past going, run, run. There's a guy stabbing literally everyone, everything. There was a few of us kind of looking at each other like thinking it was a joke, like it's Halloween, I'll be pranking. But then you could kind of see in their faces they were being serious. I kind of got my stuff and I was running, and everyone was really pushing behind us, really panicking. And at this point I was kind of asking questions like, what's happening, like who is it? And they were like, a guy's just stabbing everyone back there. Put my hand on this chair, like just trying to push myself forward. And then I look at my hand and it's covered in blood. And then I look at the chair and there's blood all over the chair.
Oh,
I'm thinking, oh, okay,
awful.
This is pretty serious. So some of the guys that had ran through to kind of alert us to run, they were the ones who had also been stabbed. So we're running over and getting to the edge of the carriage, still trying to work out who is it, what's their intentions, what's their motives. I just knew they were stabbing everyone, and someone kind of said they thought they had a gun. Pulled the
oh god, that must have been terrifying.
Trying to work out, can we barricade the doors, can we lock the doors, but we couldn't really. And then by the time I got to the end of the carriage, I realised I was actually at the back of it, and there was about 6 of us. There was a girl, bless her, who was really, really in a bit of state because the guy had actually tried to stab her, and one of the older guys, who's an absolute hero, blocked it with his head, and he's got this like gash. He had this gash on his head. He's got I think a gash on his neck, and he's kind of we're kind of giving him like our jackets to keep the pressure on the blood. And while we're doing that, there's a person that I know, and he's kind of looked at me and gone like, have you got anything we can use in case he comes through?
There's at least 10 ambulances, 12 ambulances.
We had a Jack Daniels bottle between us, and that was it. So we're kind of sitting there with one Jack Daniels bottle, just looking down the end of this carriage, just praying somebody doesn't walk down with a knife, with a gun. We didn't really know what was going on.
Wow, that is absolutely terrifying hearing that. And I want you to hear Zia Yusuf speaking to the press this morning about the importance of Stop and Search. I think this is a moment where we really need to reassess the policing operation when it comes to knife crime in this country.
Why don't we implement Stop and Search? Something that all of the preponderant academic research, cross-culturally, all over the world shows if you Do stop and search to saturation. Deadly weapons of every sort get removed from circulation. Let's start with that, and that is how we keep British people safe.
Exactly, it's simple. It's simple. We had stop and search, and also if you're found with a knife, you need to have serious consequences. You should be behind bars if you are found with a knife. You should not just be told by the police, "Oh, please don't bring your knife out again. We'll let you go. We'll let you off. We'll give you a second chance." No, sorry, no second chances. If you've got a knife, that's it. Okay, I'm absolutely sick of it. Now, a couple of things to mention there off the back of what we just looked at. So first of all, you've seen the footage of everybody outside the train in the car park as the police then go in and storm the train. The driver pulled into this station in Huntingdon. I don't believe it was supposed to stop there, but it was the nearest station. If they stopped in the middle of the track somewhere, it'd be very, they'd be trapped on the train, on the tracks. It'd be difficult for people to get out. So he goes to the next station, stops the train. But the police aren't there yet. The police, they did act very quickly and had these suspects in custody within 8 minutes of the 999 call, pretty quick. But when they arrived at the station, it's like, well, we want to get these people off the train so they don't get all stabbed to death whilst these monsters are running rampant around the carriages, but also if we open the doors, the suspects could just get out and run off or stab more people outside the train without the police being there. So a lot of quick decisions needed to be made. Also, a lot of people very questioning of the fact that the police have said this is not being treated as a terrorist incident. It's very early days and it will take them quite a long time to figure out exactly the background of these individuals, whether they had any leanings towards any sort of terrorist extremist ideology. You do have to ask, why would you go on a train and start stabbing everybody? We've had at least 10 people stabbed, 10 or 11 people stabbed, which is absolutely shocking. Most of the knife crime that happens that doesn't make the news because it's not as shocking in the sense that it's very common, is it's gang members killing other gang members, where things are strange and are a little bit less common and often considered terrorist related, is when they start stabbing random members of the public who they have no beef with. It's not some gang member upset with another gang member over some kind of disagreement, just random members of the public. That is very strange behaviour, and we need to get to the bottom of this, and the British public will want to know, and they will know if they are being lied to. I think people very much felt like that during Southport. Shabana Mahmood has been very keen to stress in, of course they don't want any kind of disorder, and I don't want there to be any kind of disorder, but people are quite suspicious of what has been said by the police about it not being terror related, and also we know that they used the code Plato when this attack was taking place, when they got that 999 call, which I think is they use that if they believe there is what they call a marauding terrorist attack. She has stressed, we know this attack is not being treated as terrorism and that 2 British-born British nationals have been arrested. Let's just go to the details about the suspects. So the suspects, they are 2 men who are British nationals. They're both born in the UK. One is a 32-year-old black individual and the other is a 35-year-old of Caribbean descent. So they were keen to put that out there so that people, if it was a migrant who's just come across on a boat, that would really, really infuriate people. And then this is the details that we have about the patients. So 11 people went to hospital with injuries, 10 were taken in ambulances, and 1 travelled to hospital themselves later in the evening to seek treatment. 9 were originally said to be in life-threatening condition, but of these 4 have since been discharged, and 2 are still fighting for their lives. Pray for those 2. I really hope, really hope that everybody makes it out alive of this terrifying, absolutely terrifying attack. So there we go. That is the latest on the train stabbing. I'm sick of seeing these stories happening. It's every single week now we've got some kind of terrifying attack happening. As I said, we just had shortly before this the triple stabbing happen in Hillingdon in Uxbridge, where a 49-year-old dog walker sadly lost his life. When are we going to start taking knife crime seriously? I think there needs to be a turning point now where we actually get serious about this. I don't want the people of this country to be scared to go on public transport anymore. Anyway, I'm Chloe Dobbs. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to make sure you don't miss out on any more news updates, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and also hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when we're posting new videos. See you next time.